I would never think with the way our constitutional system works, the world is ending. Is that part of what's going on? Is part of what's going on people just don't have a centering of where they fit into society in any way, that they just rely on the federal government as this is my constant? Look, this ain't no philosophy channel. I'm not even going to pretend to understand any of these things when it comes to the people like to commentate on what Jordan Peterson or Noam Chomsky or any of these people put into the world. That's not my shtick. My shtick is politics and news, but a lot of that stuff kind of delves into the world of philosophy and thinking and figuring out where you fit into the world. This past week I got to see a really cool presentation at Keene State College, part of their Cohen Institute for Holocaust and Genocide Studies, and the guy had me at the first half really talking about what leads to the othering of people and the making sure not to take a victim status and to take a status of a rescuer and stepping up and not othering other people because of their identity and things like that. But it ended up devolving into this conversation around implicit bias and things of that nature, and I have problems with that being the center of it. In fact, I'll link to even a Vox article from back in 2017 saying the implicit association test that Harvard put into the world and still is out there is kind of BS. It's not something that's really proven to be worthwhile either at the individual or at the more societal level. It doesn't really show anything useful because it's not reproducible, it's not scientific. And in this article here by German Lopez, who is actually now over at the Times, calls out and even calls out a lot of left-wing outlets for putting it that this test is something that's important. But my more surprising takeaway is the fact that so many people don't consider where they fit into the world. And I'm confused by that. And I'd love to know in the comments or see some replies on this, because I grew up understanding where I fit into the world. Yes, there were aspects of it where, okay, do I honestly feel this way about things? And my ideals change and some stuff. But I was raised as the best thing for you is to have a family, have a purpose, either through your purpose could be your job, but it doesn't have to be. I've been very fortunate with my jobs where I feel like they allow me to kind of live out my ideals when it comes to certain things. Not perfectly, but when it comes to helping other people is very important to me. And my work in scouting, for example, is I've had my issues that I put out there when it comes to the national office, but the program is huge, and it's a big part of the reason why I am. But one of the exercises that this guy from the Institute had you do was write out 6 things about your identities that you feel like is a part of you. And obviously for me, growing up to Christian Baptist family, very strong family with 2 parents and siblings and extended family that we were connected to very much at the time, is I put like Christianity was first thing, or God or religion, whatever way you want to phrase it. Father, then husband, obviously, and then I put my nationalism stuff, like an American, Granite Stater, and then I put communicator. And those just pretty easy 6 things for me. And we went around the room, and he said, "Okay, cross one out." And yeah, I crossed out communicator because I feel like my country is more important than my job. And they said, "Okay, cross out another one," and then cross out another. And obviously, I removed the 2 when it comes to nationalism, because obviously my family is first, and God first, or God first, and then family. And we went around the room, and people, like 2 of the people in the room, immediately crossed out their religion. And that boggled my mind that, that would even come across your mind. I mean, it really goes to show how a lot of people don't take religion as the serious thing it is. Like, you don't have to 24/7 be a monk or anything of that nature, but for that to be the first thing you cross off means, do you honestly believe that religion? Does that not mean anything to you? And this is one of the big main religions in modern society. And like, I don't want to call them out specifically because I don't want to start going down some weird paths on that, but it was shocking to me as 2 of them said the same thing. And I couldn't imagine that. I was raised to really think about this, and went into an traditional American Baptist church, very, very small congregation. They had an organ and a piano, and there's no band up on the stage or anything of that nature. And one of these more new agey ones. And you were taught that it was God, your family, your nation, and after that, making sure you're able to provide for them through gainful employment and the Protestant work ethic and all that. And to just cross that out, what should be the thing that you believe is going to happen to you, just, I mean, at the most base level, what happens to you after you die? Like, as a Christian, you believe you go to heaven. You have faith in that, and that God's there for you, and all these factors. I'm just as guilty as so many other modern Americans when it comes to not going to church. I want to. We kind of have, it's kind of this vicious cycle of people step away from church. More people want to start going to church, but there's no one at the church. So do you feel like that's the community you want to be in or not? Especially when you have a young child like I do. He's very aware of God. We talk about it, and we pray, we do grace at dinner and things like that, and we talk about it when people pass away and what that means, and it offers comfort. Maybe that's part of the reason why I'm hopeful with the world and not thinking, oh God, if our government has a mess for 4 years, it's catastrophe. I don't feel that. I don't care if it was Biden or anyone else in office. I would never think, with the way our constitutional system works, the world is ending. Is that part of what's going on? Is part of what's going on people just don't have a centering of where they fit into society in any way, that they just rely on the federal government as this is my constant? Your government shouldn't be your constant. Your family, your God, your community, those should be your constants. And to reverse that is terrifying to me, and it really opens doors in my mind as to how other people are maybe thinking about the world and not feeling as steady. I mean, so many of the Democrats that I know they're very strong in family, they go to church and things like that, don't have that same concern that other Democrats have. It's very anecdotal, obviously. I don't have any data when it comes to that, but I think it's maybe something people should start considering is where do you fit into the world? Why weren't you raised to consider that and have stability in that? I think that definitely comes down to the gender and sexual confusion that a lot of people have nowadays also. Is if you don't think by default, I mean, what's probably best for our society moving forward is for there to be a mother and a father raising a family as the mission, and instead it's government and your career. Yeah, that could be really terrifying if suddenly the federal government isn't there paying your bills and things of that nature. We need I'm very traditionalist when it comes to that. Like I wholly feel like my role in life primarily before me is my family, and to make sure they're being taken care of. Part of what I try and do with this show that makes me feel very self-righteous is I want to put a different tone and a different mindset into what's in the media nowadays. Almost no one listens, but I can't blame them for me being boring. But to not catastrophize absolutely everything is vital. And if these people are just relying on the news and what they're seeing with the craziness, and they rely on federal grants for so much of what they do, like, that's a problem. You need to look locally more. You need to focus on things that are happening in your household more with God, something bigger than you, because the thing bigger than you shouldn't just be your state. Like that leads to communism and all sorts of other issues. There should be a God or some greater spirit or being of some sort, because I think that's just so important to really find purpose and have confidence that your purpose is right. It's the Protestant part of me on that, definitely, but maybe more people should consider that. Maybe more people should look inward and think of how they're raising their kids to make sure they have confidence going into the world that's not just centered around who they're attracted to, but something bigger. Like, yeah, you don't need to, libertarian in me, I don't care whether you're gay, but I think you should have a single partner. I think that's very important to have stability in the home and raise a kid, whether it's adoption, fostering, or being involved in your community and helping kids and staying and letting just stability is so important. And God obviously is the cornerstone of that. Mine and I have an amazing wife that I've been with for 21 years when we started dating. We need that. We need to recenter that. You don't need to necessarily go to church, although I feel like that's very important. Hopefully we're going to see over the next few years increases in people going there. But don't write off your religion without really thinking hard why you believe that religion in the first place. And maybe you should give it a stronger look, because maybe that's something you're missing and you don't realize it. I could be wrong, but for me, it's hugely important. All right, New England Take. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to get back into some more news and things of that nature, but it was just something that really stood out to me in the last few days, and I wanted to get it out. All right, talk to you soon.